Hello everyone, you are watching Campus France Live. Thanks a lot to be there with us. And today we're going to discover Esce International Business School. If you want to make an international career, you are at the right place. I'm very pleased to welcome Marie de Gendre. Hi.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. You're the Director of Academic Partnerships, and just in front of you, we're with Claire Chaventon. Hi.
Hi.
You are a graduate of the double diploma in International Commerce and Marketing. You can ask all your questions during this live session, but to begin, can you all introduce yourself in a few? And we are with Kritika SISODIA. Hi. We don't have the sound yet of Kritika, but she's here and she will talk in a few minutes. So to begin, can you all introduce yourself in a few words? Let's begin with you, Marie.
Hi, thank you for inviting us today. My name is Marie de Gendre. I am the Director of Academic Partnerships, Associate Dean at Esce. I've been at Esce since 1996, teaching marketing, and I work with all of our international partnerships.
Claire, same question for you.
Hi, so I've been graduated of Esce in 2018 of international marketing, and I did a double degree at Nichols State University in Louisiana with an MBA.
And Kritika, can you introduce yourself in a few words? So we don't have your sound, I think. No, I think it's not working. We will be back to you in a few moments. Marie, can you tell us a few words about Esce?
Sure. Esce is an international business school. We were founded in 1968 with the idea of forming students to become professionals in the world of foreign trade. So everything around Esce is about international in terms of languages, culture, understanding, travel. And I think that gives you a bit of an idea.
And can you present the different programs that you have?
We have mainly the Esce, what we call the Programme Grande École, which is a 5-year program. First 3 years is the first cycle. That is the equivalent in most places of what we call a bachelor's. And then 2 years of a master's program. And the master's program gives you what we call in France, la grade de master. And the grade de master is a recognition by the state of the quality of our education.
Claire, why did you choose to study at Esce?
I think it was because, as Mary said, it was really international. The fact that you can go from your first year to your last year on an international path. I had a chance to do my master full English and did various internships in different countries. So it shows that, yeah, Esce was really the place to be if you want to be on an international track.
And if I can add, Guillaume, also at Esce, a student could come in the first year and follow entirely the 5 years in English, from year 1 all the way through year 5.
And where are the different campuses located in France?
The main campus is in Paris, and it is at what we call the Campus Eiffel in the 15th arrondissement. There's also a campus in Lyon, where Claire went for her first 3 years.
Exactly.
And then the group has campuses in London, in San Francisco. And I think that I have given you an answer.
And what did you study at Esce, Claire?
So the first 3 years, you're in a bachelor, so it's like mainly everyone has the same path. And then you're going to specialize yourself. I did international marketing with product management. And as a double degree, I did international business, a master of business administration. So it's really various, all the opportunities you can have during your time at Esce.
I'm just checking if we have Kritika with us, or if it's still complicated. Kritika is here. I think she can hear us, but we still can't hear her. That's really complicated. We will be back to you in a few minutes, I hope. We're now going to talk about the pedagogy. In which languages can you follow the programs of Esce?
Obviously, you can follow the entire program in English, but you can also follow in certain specialization in French, mixed English and French.
And what are the other languages that you can learn there?
Oh, Students can learn up to 4 languages. English is required. Everyone speaks English. Then you take a second language, which could be French, which could be in Spanish or German. For a foreign student coming in, you would learn French. Very good French as a foreign language program. Then there's Chinese, Italian, Portuguese, Japanese, an enormous list, like I said, up until 4 languages.
And is it possible to start new languages during the school, during the classes?
When you come in, yes.
Yes.
Yes, very much so. Claire, did you start a new language, Claire?
Yeah, I did Chinese. I took Chinese when I started on my first year. So you can have up to 4 languages, and my time was 3. But that's why also you choose ESE, because from the beginning of your studies until the end, you can follow 3 full languages.
Is a delayed start possible for the students?
In the Programme Grande École, in first year, yes. There is what we call une rentrée décalée, or delayed start, that is organized, and it starts in January until July, and they fill the whole year program.
And what are the different certifications that you have at ESCE?
ESE has what we call EFMD accreditation. We also have from Campus France what is called the Bienvenue en France label, which means that we welcome students, we're prepared, we have a quality welcoming service. We also have what is called the BSIS, or the Business Impact, which is very much important in these days to realize the impact that we have on the society around us.
What are your memories of the time you had at ESE in terms of pedagogy? How were the different classes? Did you have a lot of group projects? How was it?
I think it's a good question. It really depends on where you are at your in your studies. The first 3 years were more in a group with a class, and then during my master, it's more specialized, and you have more group projects. I would mention the Club of Notes, where a Marist taught me, where we had to build a business plan and make sure that the project will go from A to Z without any issues, I would say, and working with companies where you can learn from them, and they can learn from us.
When you arrive at ESC, what are the different classes that you can follow? How is it organized?
Depending on when you arrive. You can arrive in your first year, and you would have classes in international business, you would have classes in languages, you would have a whole array of what we call the general core courses that you need to begin. In the first year, you can choose from 8 different tracks. You have a track which is the political science track. You have a track which is the international business track, general international business, and we have 6 international tracks where students choose to focus on a specific area of the world, and then at the end of their first year they would go abroad and do a summer school in one of these areas of the world. So for the moment we have North America, which is the US and Canada. We're opening Latin America in September, and so that'll include Mexico and all the rest of the Spanish-speaking countries in Central and Southern America. Europe, and so all the European countries, Franco-German, Asia, and then New Zealand, which is one of the new ones we start next year. Then if you start in your 3rd year, you would start in the general track in preparing your choice for your master's degree, and then you could start in your 4th year, which is the master's.
Okay, thanks a lot. I wanted just to make sure if we have Kritika with us, or is she with us? Can she talk or not at all? Okay, it's not working.
Doesn't seem to
Thanks
work.
a lot. I'm really sorry, Kritika, with you. Yeah, she will maybe answer by text. Are your programs mainly practical or theoretical?
In the beginning first years, there's probably more theory, but there's always practice. Right from the first year, we have a capstone, which is the go-to-market project. And then as we get further on in the years, a lot of importance on the idea of real-world professionalization. So we bring in companies, as Claire mentioned, the Club of Notes project. We bring in companies who give a brief of a real project to students, and then the students have to work on these. So we're looking to create ready-to-go professionals.
And if I can add something, I think there's a good balance between the practical and the theoretical. From first year, you're immersed in a company where you have to do an internship in France or abroad, and then you have the same thing for 6 months in your third year, and then this last year with your final year internship. So I think there is a really good balance where you want to go and which company you want to work for.
Can you describe, for instance, one of the projects you had to do?
I think the Club of Notes would be the one that stuck in my mind because we were working with different nationalities. You have to exchange with people you never met, and it's a bit like you're in a company. You don't know who your colleagues are, and you have to make sure that the project goes on and is successful. So the Club of Notes and the synergy that we have with the brief of the company, making sure that we are getting the right budgets and all the quotes we needed to make sure that the project was viable was super interesting.
And in your students, you have a lot of nationalities represented.
Many, many. I've cited this quote a couple of times. In the first semester of 2019, I had 2 classes I taught of a class in branding where I had 90 students in total, and I counted 18 nationalities.
That's a lot. That's really a lot. And regarding the teachers, what are the different profiles that they have?
But the faculty at ESCE is very international. I'm American origin. I have colleagues from all over the world. And those that are French origin are very international because they do research and they've done teaching in other institutions. All about the idea of being a very dynamic and international faculty.
We're now going to talk about the student life, which is really important, I imagine, in a school like ESCE. To begin to talk about student life, we have a little video that we are going to show you, and we will be back just after that. You can keep on asking your different questions that you have in the different chat sections. So we are going to watch the video, and we will be back just after that. You're still watching Campus France Live. Thanks a lot to be there with us. We are discovering today ESCE, an international school, as we were just saying, and you can keep on asking your different questions. And we're now going to talk about the student life. What are the different activities Claire organized for the student in the school?
I think it's like really much like every business school you could have in France. It goes from sailing to Quatre Trophy with charities proposition to international organization. You have also parties and BDE, which is the student board. All those things are working together to make sure that the student life is really alive. And on Campus Eiffel, it's really much a place where you can meet up with all those associations and make sure that you can meet people. I think it's the aim of those associations.
And there's also the associations that are very humanitarian focused, humanitarian, sustainability, which have become very important in the last few years. There's the Erasmus Association and welcoming foreign students, where they have a group of students together that have buddies from ESCE and are able to meet and do things. Any idea for an association, generally there will be someone there to help you to create it if it doesn't already exist.
And there is another important topic. It's about the international students, because when they arrive in France, there are a lot of different steps to do. Regarding, for instance, the visa procedure. Then you have to find an accommodation. How do you help all of the international students with all of these administrative procedures?
But there's obviously a team that's there. If we got the Bienvenue in France recognition, it means that we've figured out how to do this. The admissions staff obviously helps a lot with the administrative procedures and all of the different paperwork. And then we have an amazing team in international relations that is able to help with the idea of accommodations and just answering questions on anything that a student might need.
What are the different events organized for the integration of students? Because when you arrive in a new school, you want to discover your future new friends. How was it for you?
You have the BDE, which helps a lot with integration weekend, obviously, and then you have also this buddy pairing that you also have with the French students. So you have it with the French students and the international students, which is great. I kept connections with mine, so it's a lifetime friendship, I would say. The people you will meet in your school will help you to grow your career, but also to stay friends with you. So it's a real opportunity to go to those events, social network, charity events that you can have on campus.
How would you describe the students of ESCE in terms of spirits, in terms of the way they are, the way they work? How would you describe them?
Dynamic. I think the easiest word for me is dynamic. There is something very ESCE that I find. I've been there, like I said, for many years. I've always found there's this energy, this curiosity. And a student would come to ESCE because they're curious to learn about doing business in another part of the world, visiting another part of the world. So I think two characteristics: dynamic curiosity.
What would be your advice as a graduate of the school for the future students? Like, what do you want them to know about the school, to know about the way to interact with others, to know about the way to study here? What would be your advice?
I'll start with the first one. I think if you want to go to ESCE, as Mary said, you need to be curious. You need to go out there and immerse yourself with others and understand what is business at an international scale, and be able to connect with people. Then the question about how to study. I think ESCE is not an easy school. You need to be there, you need to study to make sure you understand the concepts, because the first year concept will help you to grow throughout the years. And you need to know where you want to go. I think it was really much my mindset. I knew I wanted to go to hospitality, but international hospitality, and it helped me to grow this way, because knowing international business helped me to meet those people that I need to know to go where I wanted to be. So knowing where you want to go is helping you to choose the school you want to go, I think.
And I think that I just had a good news. Kritika is with us. Hello, Kritika. It was almost there, but now we have a video. Kritika, hello. So no, that wasn't a good news at all. I'm really sorry. We don't have the sound yet. I'm really sorry. We're not going in, and I hope that we will have you in before the end of the live session. We're now going to talk about the admission, because I think that a lot of people watching us are asking themselves how to apply. So how to apply to ESCE? What are the different steps that you have to follow?
But the first step obviously is to contact the admissions and recruiting department and to get an application that we would fill out very simply. They're going to ask you a lot of questions. You ask the different people that are there to answer your questions, the questions you might have. Then there is an interview process. We have to verify that you have the right diplomas and the equivalents. An interview process to make sure that we're a good fit for each other. And then, if everything works out, hopefully we'll make a good match.
What are the different questions that you ask during the interview process? You want to know more about the candidate? Is there some academical questions? Is there some question about regarding the personality of the candidates?
The questions that I personally would ask would depend on the point in their studies as the candidate. A candidate that's looking to enter the master's program, I would obviously be asking questions that are more pointed toward their area. Somebody that wants to study marketing, which is what I teach, I will ask them questions about marketing and what marketing is. Somebody that is coming in their first year, I would ask much more general questions about what they're looking for in life, about what they consider in terms of an interesting geopolitical event that we could discuss. Really not necessarily in your first year do you expect that students have a lot of acquired knowledge. You want to make sure that students have an interest and a desire to go further and to learn more.
What was your profile before joining the school? What kind of high school graduate were you?
I was a scientific profile, so nothing to do with international, but I've always been passionate about traveling and meeting new people, and that's why I've wanted to learn more about international business, and learning new language was something I really was in my mind. So I think it's when you want to enter ESE, as Mary was saying, you need to be curious on the world that is around you, basically.
For the international students watching us today, what are the different prerequisites to apply?
Again, it depends on your area of study. If it's a question that you're applying in your fourth year for a master's program, you would have to have the equivalent of what we call 180 ECTS credits, or 3 years of an undergraduate type of program. If it's a question that you were applying for your first year, then you would need to have the equivalent of your high school diploma or graduation to be able to apply.
And do you have some prerequisites regarding the language? Do they need to speak French? Do they need to speak English?
Foreign students coming in, as we had said, they can do their entire program in English, and they would learn French during their time that they're with us. Obviously, they would need to speak English.
And do you require some tests, some English tests?
Normally, a student would need to have one of the official language tests. Again, the level they're coming in on would determine the level of the test. But in some situations, when somebody comes from an English-speaking country, an oral test or a waiver of that could potentially be seen. But they need to manifest that they are able to follow their studies in English.
Claire, what would be your advice for the students watching us regarding all of the admission process?
I think you have to be yourself. You have to be curious and show your interest in the school, and show that you want to be part of a French, because it's still a French school, but with an international version of it. So be able to immerse yourself in a French culture with this twist of international, I would say.
Let's talk now about the international world and the professional world at ESCE. First of all, how many partner universities do you have to study to go and study abroad?
The official word is 192. However, last week I spent the week at something called NAFSA, which is the American Association for Educators. And so hopefully we're going to have some wonderful new partners. In any case, I met a lot of wonderful schools that would be wonderful to collaborate with.
When is it possible for you students to go and study abroad?
Study abroad, as of this past year, those students that take the international tracks will go abroad for a summer school after their first summer. their first school year. They can then facultatively, meaning not mandatory, go abroad in their second year for a semester of mobility, generally in Europe, China, or Russia. And then in their fourth year, they would study abroad, mandatory for a semester, or if they do a double degree, they'd go abroad a full year, for that.
And there is also the possibility for the students to do a double degree. It is what you did, a double degree. Can you tell us a few words about that?
Yeah, so it's a full year, you were saying, Mary, as a double degree. And in fact, as a Master of Business Administration, I had to do more exams than what was required to go for a classic double degree. But it was a really interesting experience because you're immersed in a new culture, which was Louisiana for me, so completely a new world, because I had this idea of the US. But the ESE is helping you a lot to go abroad and make sure that your double degree is completed and you can still follow your courses while abroad.
And let's talk now about the internships. What are the different internships that you have to do during your studies?
Okay, for students in their first year, the political science and the international track would do a 2-month internship in the summer. Those that do the 6 international tracks, instead of doing the internship requirement, they would have a summer school. But many choose this year to try to do both. They want to get out and work for those 2 months. Then in the first semester of the third year, students have an internship for 6 months that they are encouraged to do abroad, but in any case need to have an international facet to their internship. And then in fifth year, students do in the second semester of their fifth year, 6-month internship. Again, mandatory attachment to international. Many do it abroad, although this year kind of complicated with COVID, while they're doing their master's thesis.
Can you tell us, Claire, a few words about the different internships you had the opportunity to do?
Yeah, so I had the chance to do my first year internship in Walt Disney World in Florida. I was just a little hostess in a resort, but it helped me to meet guests and clients and to be immersed in the English speaking culture. And then in third year, I did my internship in France. But I worked for event companies, so we were working with international companies such as pharmaceutical companies or large companies. So it was a bit with this international twist. And my fifth year, I did it in Disney again, but at the headquarters where I was product manager developing new trips for their brand called Adventures by Disney.
And I imagine that you have an entire professional network that can help the student to find easily internships opportunities.
ESE has an alumni network of over 11,000 students, and the alumni are very active in coming back and recruiting students for their internship. Then we have a career center that is very active and very well connected with different companies. And has a good reputation for helping students, accompanying students to find their internships.
And we're going to finish with the question of the career, or careers in plural. Can you tell us what kind of jobs it's possible to do after ESE?
That's a loaded question. Can do just about anything. We have students all over the world. If I can just give you, as you say in French, an anecdote, a little story. This year I was very fortunate. I was asked by the dean to create something called meetups for the new international tracks. There were 3 this year. And in doing that, it was a question of creating a get-together with these first-year students and a professional who had either lived, studied, and or worked in one of the countries of these regions, North America, Europe, or Asia. And obviously, being at ESE for 25 years, I turned to my network of alumni that gave me the wonderful opportunity to connect with them, and the pleasure to find people all over the world working in all different kinds of careers and still very attached to their school and wanting to share. So in terms of the careers, I'm sorry, I can't give you a definite answer. You can do just about anything.
Mm.
International careers, I don't want to say the sky's the limit, but maybe. Lots of things.
And how do you help the students to find what they want to do in their life?
But either of us could probably ask. Maybe Claire, you might want to say a little bit first, and then I can tell you from a pedagogical point of view what we do.
I think it's throughout the years you have those personal development courses that help you a lot to find who you are as a young human, and then you meet people. Opportunities are such an important thing at ESE. Your network, as Mary was saying, is really important. So I think it really depends on who you meet, what are your opportunities, and where you want to go. For example, I did marketing as my major, and I ended up in hospitality. So basically, you can do anything with ESE.
Hello, Kritika. Nice to meet you. Normally, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. Hi, Kritika.
Yes, finally.
I'm really happy to have you. Thanks a lot to be there with us at Campus France Live. To begin, can you introduce yourself in few words? Tell us where you are from, and why you did your study at ESE.
I come from Bombay, in Mumbai, India, and I wanted to come to France to study. Wanted to do marketing, and I had a few interviews, and one of them was MDG, and she was great. And since then, I came to ESE. I then worked because I came from Indian movie background. That's what I was working in, and I wanted to go more in like production and marketing and sales of anything creative, and post that MDG helped me speak to an old alumni who worked for Deezer, which is music and something I enjoy, and eventually that's what I did as my final internship. And in post that, now I work for a company called Focus, which is basically photography, scalable production of photography all over the world, and that's how I'm here. And honestly, ESE has been a great experience, and a big reason is MDG.
It's you, Marie de Gendre.
Merci, Kritika.
and Kritika, what were your fears before going to France to do your studies? What were you afraid about?
Honestly, it was the language, because I don't speak French. I can speak English. I learned some French in ESE, but at the end of the day, my 100% capabilities at work is English. So it was probably that. Yes, obviously being able to figure out every administrative point in France, and it gets hard. And that's when you guys could not hear me, I was typing to answer the questions, and I was basically saying ESE helped me out a lot with my visa work, finding my bank. I still have the same bank, so which honestly I didn't realize. It was a lot of us. It was very hard for other people. The more people I meet over here that are international, I feel like I had a lot of things that were easier because of ESE.
And how did it go finally? Did you have the opportunity to learn French, for instance?
Yes, of course. I did pass from ESE with a B1 certificate. So I did learn a lot of it, but I just still not very confident to do it at work. But otherwise, yes, it did help. Also, did A2 level of Spanish.
Finally, what would be your advice for the international students watching us today? What would you share with them with your experience as an international student at ESCE?
Honestly, if you really come from a different country and you want to get a job, and at the end goal when we study is to find something, get a job, ESE is a good place to network. It's a good place to meet new people, and it's a very good place to have open opportunities.
And what are you?
And I
yes, sorry.
And I did not come with any connections before. I just came there, and I had no idea if I could do it or not, but I made it. So it's completely possible.
And what are your thoughts, and what do you want to do in the future? You're now working in the photography industry. Do you already know what you want to do in 5 or 10 years?
Maybe go back to music or movies.
Okay.
Once I get up.
Little step by little
Eventually.
step. Thanks a lot, Kritika, for having been with us, and we're really sorry for all the technical issues that we had. We were just talking about the different job opportunities that you can have after ESCE. So we just said that there are a lot of different opportunities in a lot of different fields. How long does it take for the student to find their first job after graduation?
Again, statistics that I would give you today in the middle of COVID would be relatively complicated. Up until before all of the pandemic, roughly 90% within the first 6 months. And again, if I can be a little bit more specific about the jobs, Kritika and Claire, they were in marketing, but students can do finance, students can do supply chain, students can do export management, they can do management, general management. We have something called sustainable human development. And so it's not like there's, just very generalist, there are very precise also professions that they can go into.
They can also build their own company.
We have a lot of startups, actually.
Yeah, you have also a lot of startups. So it's like really, you have a full, full track of opportunities with ESE.
And what are the different salaries that you can have after ESCE?
Salaries, again, that's going to depend on the specific professions. Latest statistics I had seen were very well classed with the other competitors. But again, it's going to depend. If you go into finance, you potentially will be earning more starting off. If you go into marketing, even within marketing, the salaries vary. The one thing is that students are prepared to be professional and to be operational rapidly. So the starting salary is maybe something that statistically we follow, but the progression for me is something that's much more pertinent.
Can you tell us, not your salary, but the different opportunities that you had just after your graduation? How did it go for you?
I told you before, I had something in my mind, and I wanted to go to hospitality, but it helped me to enter this graduate program I did afterwards, which was the Hilton Graduate Program Management Program. So I was already a manager after 6 months of diploma, so it was really interesting to be able to put in practice what I just learned from school. And then I grew in this industry for 2 years, and then COVID arrived. So obviously you have to change a bit your mind. But I'm still in a really good company today, where I'm learning a lot, and I'm still applying things that I've learned from school and my double diploma. So. As Mary was saying, it's not about the money you're gonna get, but it's about the professionalism you're gonna get from this diploma.
And how do you see yourself in the future?
I think thanks to all those opportunities, it would be really much continuing in a company for a few years to get expertise in a field, or going to teach to some people that have what I've learned from companies I've been in, to give back to the school or schools I've been in.
If I can just add, Guillaume, this is something that in the last several years I've been really pleased to find, where alumni will come back and say, listen, you people gave us, now we have things and we want to give something back. And that's something that for me as faculty is really very, very heartwarming to see that there's this desire to come back to their school. And the students, when an outside professional come in, the students react saying, this is somewhere where I could be in a few years. And so that connection is something that's very special.
Finally, what would be your last advice for the students or and future students of ESCE watching us today?
Come join us. We will do everything we can to help you feel at home and learn your way, because everybody has their own way. And so it's important that we would help you discover what your way is, what you were meant to do.
Thanks a lot, Marie, Claire, and Kritika, for having been with us today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
That was a pleasure too, and thanks to you for having watched us. If you still have questions about the school, don't hesitate to ask them on the chat sections. The different people from the administration of ESCE are going to answer you. And see you soon on Campus France Live.